NPS Now, your source for news and information about Norfolk Public Schools. I'm your host, Karen Tanner, and with me today is a special guest, Bart Irwin, Senior Coordinator for Math. Welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you.
Great to see you. Finally get to meet you. I've heard your name before, but now I get to face with the name. So before we talk about Math SOLs, because I know that's what you're in charge of, I want to learn a little bit more about you. So, what other positions have you held here in Norfolk Public Schools?
I was a classroom teacher and a math department chair at Lafayette Winona Middle School and also at Rosemont Middle School when we were still there. I taught everything from our 7th grade math all the way up to geometry for middle school students.
So you've been a teacher with Norfolk how many years now?
10 years. This is my 10th year. Yeah.
And it sounds like, what, two different schools?
Yeah, most of the time with Lafayette Winona and then a year at Rosemont Middle School as well.
Wow, math is a tough subject for all students, high school, middle, elementary school. Give me an example of what's being done in the classroom to help our children learn more math concepts or get confident in working in math.
Sure, it is tough, and I get reminded of that regularly. We have really sought to look at what's called the math process goals, which is a way to help students look at math for understanding rather than as memorization. What makes it tough for a lot of our kids is they see math as a set of rules to memorize, almost like a Rolodex in their mind. And we are seeking to create meaning. So a typical math problem in the past, they were taught a formula to follow and the kid would just do it and do it 100 times. We're now asking that same student to do a math problem in a variety of ways, to take that problem and maybe draw a picture that can help them solve the problem, or use a graph that might help them solve the problem, or use words, or find the method that will help that student get the meaning behind what is happening in the problem rather than just doing it.
I have a first grader, and it's interesting how now she's doing math. Can you give us an example, like on the elementary level, of how we're doing math differently than what we grew up doing math?
Sure. So with fractions, it was always a matter of you had to take your fraction. I'm thinking of fraction multiplication, which is right at the top of elementary. It's really between 5th and 6th grade. They would traditionally learn how to multiply fractions by the rules. You would take the numerator times the numerator and the denominator times the denominator. But what we found was that often the kids are mixing that up with cross multiplication and the other rules for fractions. And so what we've done is when a student's encountering fractions and multiplication for the first time in an elementary addition, they're now asked, before they even start to do the math, to model it, to draw a picture on paper of what 3/4 might look like, what does 1/3 look like, and how, if I were to put those two together, would it look, before I even try to find out what the answers and the numbers might mean. And the students would draw in and shade in what 1/3 looks like and 3/4, find out where they overlap, and they would get their answer using a picture rather than just doing the old rules that they always kind of did.
And I've noticed that with her homework, watching her and working with her, I'm like, oh, this is a little different than, you know, counting on your fingers. That's no longer what they do.
Yeah, and it's hard. You want to equip them with a variety of tools so that they can find out the one that's going to work most effectively for them. So at the elementary level and early grades, making tens is very, very helpful, whereas the algorithm of carrying numbers and going over one digit and crossing out and borrowing is the words that we used to use. Now they're looking at grouping numbers into groups of 10, and to take, and instead of borrowing, they may regroup it into a group of 10 and kind of work their numbers that they're comfortable with in order to get what might be a harder problem.
Yeah, we need to definitely have you on the show again, just for parents.
Yeah, sure.
To talk about the different math tips on the elementary, middle, and high. Now on the high school level, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get you a tutor if you need help. But what are some supports that you offer for the students in middle and high school? if they're struggling in math?
Sure. So at the middle school level, we have a variety of different programs that are also in addition to their math block. Over the years, we've increased the amount of time that a student is in the math class so that they get more experience with it. We are also asking students, like we said in the elementary level, to do the problems in a variety of different ways. And then there's programs at different schools, computer programs and that kind of thing, where the student can log in at home and receive a little extra tutorial with the problems as they're struggling. We are regularly looking for any advantage we can get with practice time and getting more time in the subject with that.
Right. Well, that's great. And last year we had a significant increase in our math SOLs. What are we doing?
We've got great teachers, and we were very excited that the city was able to put back in the math specialist position at the elementary school. We've got a person designated at each school to help the teachers with the mathematics, and that was put back into the schools last year. That was a huge advantage. And then some of it has come just through our ability to kind of understand the new style of assessment with math as they're being asked to think and process more about the math. Our questions have had to change, and so our teachers are asking questions that may have multiple ways to get to an answer a lot more frequently than just your traditional old school multiple choice type questions.
Right. So when was the last time the state changed the math SOL?
The spring of 2012, we took the new style of SOL. The standards are called the 2009 standards, but it took a few years to implement at the testing level, and it was the spring of 12.
And so this year you are bringing in what's called CAT. Talk with us about that.
Sure. The CAT test stands for Computer Adaptive Testing, and it's the state bringing this in. It is going to be rolled out in 6th grade for mathematics. It is the first experience with it. And what a computer adaptive test does is it takes a student, gives them a question, and based upon what that student does with that question, it changes the next question the student will see. So if the student's successful, they may get a little bit of a tougher question on the next question, and it'll start to take it up to their level. If they were not successful, it may go down a level and lower the level of difficulty for that student. And so it adapts to where the student is.
Their level of learning.
Yes, that's correct. It won't go below the grade level. There are some CAT tests out there that go up and down to identify what level the student is on. The SOL is still going to be on 6th grade mathematics, so it will stay at that grade level, but the type of question may be easier or harder. It may be more applied to be harder, a word problem, less fractions, that type of thing will be changing.
According to their learning, adapting.
Yeah.
So it's just for 6th grade we're kicking this off, or is it going to be the middle and high schools as well?
Correct. Right now it's 6th grade math. The state has mentioned that there's hope that it's going to increase in the future, but we have we don't know anything more than 6th grade math this year.
And being that we're incorporating it, how are we preparing those students for this CAT test?
Sure. The biggest change is that the student cannot go back to an item or skip an item. In the past, when they took their SOL, they may have been encouraged when you hit something that was particularly tough for you to skip it, to move past it, do the rest of the test, and then come back to it at the end of the test. You can't do that with a CAT test because your next question is based upon what you just answered. So there are a few simulations that are out there that mock what a CAT testing experience is going to be, and our 6th grade students have been practicing with those. The state has released one that's small, but it works and gives them the experience of answering a question and not being able to go back to it. There's another one that all of our 6th graders have been taking called the ARDT, the Algebra Readiness Test, and it is appropriate for 6th grade, and they're experiencing that as well. The rest of the test-taking experience for the student is very similar. There's no changes other than the fact that they cannot go back to an item and they can't skip an item in the to move on.
So is there special training for teachers to administer this test?
Administration doesn't need any new training. Testing has been done on the computer online for a long time. There's no change there. The students will all see different items, so that won't change. The type of reports that the teachers get, we're showing them that will change. They won't get the same reports after the fact. But training the kids, the students ahead of time, there's not a lot of difference other than you have to kind of stay on an item. There are 2 videos that are on the state site that teachers have been using, and any information that the state puts out as to what this CAT test will be, we've got in our hands of our teachers, and they're reviewing it as we go.
Right, and so the state's been very helpful. Has this been going on in other states, or are we the first? Or
yeah, as far as we understand, we are the first state to be doing the CAT testing. But it's been asked by the federal government to increase. They are looking for places for this. It's seen as being a better way to assess, a more fair way to assess students. So it's the goal of doing it. The implementation of how to get it fully functional has been why it's a little bit of a slower process.
So we're the test group.
Yeah, well, they did do a test group last year, so it is going to be fully functional this year, but it is going to, it will be a new experience for us to see what the results are. Yeah.
So when are the math SOLs going to take place?
Right now, it's scheduled to be about the 3rd week in May. We will be having a change this year in how the students are able to retake at primary levels if they're not successful the first time. Some students, it's already been in the high school level, but there's now going to be allowed to do it at the primary level as well. And so that will be changing our timing a little bit, but it's usually the 3rd week in May.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and being a great resource and sharing information about this CAT test. And when kids go home and say, I took this test, now parents are aware of just what it's about. So thank you for coming on the show.
Sure, glad to.
Great. And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now.
Welcome back to NPS Now. I'm Steve Sutmiller, Senior Coordinator of Athletics. Today we have 2 special guests in the studio from Lake Taylor High School, Ryan Owens, Assistant Track Coach, and a state champion, Dyllan Gaskin. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to talk a little bit about track, but we're going to focus on Dyllan a lot because of his accomplishments, Coach. So not putting you to the side, but this is the star right now, and we're very proud of him, as you are.
Yes.
All right. But we will start with you, Coach. Talk a little bit about and tell us who you are, what you do for the school system, and how long you've been in coaching.
All right, I've been coaching for 5 years at Lake Taylor. I'm a health and PE teacher at Azalea Gardens Middle School. That's what I do for Norfolk Public Schools. Okay. And coach him.
All right. So at Lake Taylor High School, in track, we have a number of coaches. So what's the staff like at Lake Taylor High School?
It's very well. We also have head coach LaShundra Carter. She does a great job communicating with me, and I communicate with her. For outdoor, we also have Coach Quinterly, who also coached football. He's coming out and helping with the outdoor season as well.
All right, great. Dyllan, let's talk about your accomplishments. Okay. And again, congratulations on the indoor state championship high jump. Talk a little bit about that state championship. What was your height? And we'll just kind of go from there.
Well, I won it with 6'4". It was just a moment that I'll never forget. After I made it over the bar first try, I looked around, and I'm not gonna say I was doubting everyone else who was with me left, but I knew it was one right when I did it.
Okay, so high jumping is a little different. It's not for everybody. Yeah. You have to have some special athletic ability, and obviously you do. How did you get involved in high jumping?
I honestly, my freshman year, I went to First Colonial High School, and I tried out for the basketball team. And kept trying to dunk, and they were like, wow, you jump really high. So then it was just from there on, they were like, all right, we're going to put you in the high jump. And I didn't really do very well at first, so I kind of, you know, me being younger, I was like, oh, well, this isn't for me. And then my sophomore year, I just started picking it up, and started getting good at it.
All right, Coach, talk about what makes this guy so special and what unique abilities. I mean, he's talked about his athletic ability, but there has to be some technique involved in high jumping, and how do you get that out of a high jumper?
With Dyllan, the way we work together, when a meet comes, we don't try to make big adjustments because he already knows the technique. So we just try to critique the small things, maybe a drive of the knee or a throwing of the arm up, arching the back a little more. Dyllan is built for high jump. He's thin, he's tall, he's very strong, and every day he just works so hard, and that's what our goal is. We say we take it one jump at a time, one height at a time. We're only worried about that current height that he's trying to accomplish. We don't look ahead. We just focus on the task at hand, and that's what we go into every meet thinking about.
All right, so Dyllan, take us through the high jump, your marks, your steps.
Honestly, when I get to the meet, I just kind of relax because I want to be able to look back and be like, I had fun during track season. So I chill with my friends and with the team, and then once they announce first calls for high jump, that's when the switch turns on, and I start to prepare myself. So I put my music in, and it's just me, and there's nobody else. It's just me, the mat, and the bar, and I go through my stretches, go through my warm-ups, and then once everything starts, I just start counting down all the people that are left.
All right. Coach, high jumping is a high school sport. Tell us, I mean, obviously you look for student athletes that have this type of ability and makeup. For our future athletes, and I know our middle school track program is really big in Norfolk, but we only have 2 field events in that, and that's shot put and long jump. How do you coach an athlete that's never done this before?
Well, like Dyllan said, his former coach had seen if he could jump. Of course, if we see that you can jump high, we'll ask them if they're somewhat interested in it. It helps when you have somebody like Dyllan out there. Say if I have a freshman now that maybe would see Dyllan and they would come to me and say they're interested in it, then at that point we would bring them over to the high jump pit and start kind of showing them some of the basic techniques and seeing if they can clear the lower bars. And then we just like I do Dyllan, we'll slowly start critiquing one thing at a time as the bar goes up and let them just clear that height, and then till they keep going all the way till hopefully they're state champion like Dyllan. But yes, with there being no middle school high jump, it definitely does affect us sometimes because a middle schooler coming to high school may already know how to do long jump, so they'd rather just stick to long jump. But most of the time, just like Dyllan, if you do one jumping event, you'll do another one. I mean, Dyllan does do some long jump for us. He will triple jump some outdoor, and you know, we like to try to get people more diverse in the sport.
All right. Okay, Dyllan, again, it's something that's unique. We have 2 seasons. We have an indoor season and an outdoor season. You're the indoor champion, and now we're into the outdoor season. Tell us a little bit about the differences jumping indoors versus jumping outdoors.
Indoor, it's more of everyone's around you, everybody's watching you. I mean, obviously people are going to be watching you for outdoor, but they're more spread out outdoor. So indoor, you feel it's more of an enclosed like space. So you don't feel open, you don't feel the breeze, you don't feel if it's cloudy or if it's bright and sunny outside, like you don't feel that. So indoor, it's easier to say the same. It's easier to prepare for indoor because it'll be the same way every time. Outdoor is just it's a different game. It's because of the wind, because of how cold it might be, how warm it might be. It affects you big time.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's interesting that, yeah, the outdoor, I don't, hey, just go out and jump. But you do have to account for the temperature. I mean, it's cold right now, and I'm sure your body isn't, adapted to that yet. Yeah. So those things are definitely a challenge. Coach, let's talk a little bit about Lake Taylor High School, the track program itself. What's the outlook this season, and what can we look from Coach Carter's team?
We look forward to having a good outdoor season. Indoor, we finished well. We finished third in our conference. We had, of course, Dyllan have a state champion. We also had a boy finish 5th place in the pole vault, Kareem Frazier. Okay. So that was an accomplishment as well. He was all-state in the pole vault. Oh, we look to keep improving, hopefully get more people interested in coming out. Like I know Coach Quinterly has went out and found a couple of the football players to try to come out and help a little bit. We look just to keep improving every day. I mean, we want to just keep scoring more points, as many as possible. Even Dyllan's came to me and said, I'll do more events just to score points for the team.
All right. You mentioned the conference. Our makeup is the district, then the conference, then the region, and obviously the state levels. In our city, we have all different regions, all different levels.
Right.
How do you think Lake Taylor fares in the city versus the Maury's, the Norviews, and other schools, Granby, Booker T?
I think we're very strong. We had, of course, football state champions. The girls basketball team's always strong. I believe our track team's, definitely respectable in that aspect. I think, we can compete with any team in the city, and, I'd put my money on Lake Taylor.
Okay, all right. All right, Dyllan, give us some of your expectations for outdoors.
Outdoor, I just want to go in there and do the same thing. Come back, have a good time, and then, like I said before, once it's time for me to go jump, I'm just going to bring home the gold.
All right.
That's how it's going to be.
So, you finish your outdoor season, you're a senior. What's the next level for you? What are some of your goals?
I want to go to college. I'm not too sure where I want to go yet. I'm not too sure who wants me to go either. I just took my SAT. I haven't got my scores back. So, and that is obviously a big factor of looking to where you want to go to college and seeing if they will, look at you. But right now, I'm just keeping an open mind and just gonna go wherever the wind takes me.
All right. Well, we certainly wish you good luck in the outdoor season, and then whatever happens down the road, hopefully we'll be able to watch and follow you through a college career as well. Guys, we want to thank you for being here. You've shared a lot of good information. We want to wish you good success in your season, and thank you.
All right. Thank you.
More NPS Now after this.
Thank you for watching NPS Now. It airs weekly on WNPS Channel 47, or you can view us online at www.npsk12.com. If you have any great story ideas or information you'd like to share, email us at npsnews@npsk12.com. Again, we want to thank you for watching NPS Now.